usual. Uh, Straight into the game, seeing the matchups and how that all shakes out. To just take a break, step back, and look at what we have here in terms of like free agency, where we're looking at free agency wise, the upcoming draft, and then just scouting, seeing who I want. So I'm not gonna let anybody on my team go over 70 overall this season. So, and I'm not gonna sign anybody over 70 overall next season. So, try to keep these guys under 70, and if I can resign them, I can resign them. Then great. But if they choose to sign with somebody else, or somebody else offers them a contract that's just ridiculous, I probably in terms of free agency, I'll probably stick to signing everybody on minimum contracts, like 7 years, all salary, no bonus. So that way I make it fair in terms of like the computer wanting to sign young players under 70 overall on all the teams just to shake out their rosters. Greg Stroman, definitely a guy I want back. Steven Sims, definitely a guy I want back. Dan, right now, the way it's shaking out, probably want him back next season. Probably bring back. Now, Grant's an odd one. Is he young? He's 23, so probably want Grant back. Greg, was he young? I do believe. Yeah, 23 and superstar, so he might be one of those players we might not be able to get back just because if we do re-sign him, he'll be a great boost to our team. Obviously, I'll let players go over 70 overall if I've already re-signed them to like a 7-year deal, which I'll probably want to do with Greg. He'll probably end the year at about an 80, 85, somewhere in there. He's already at a 79, so I'll definitely want him back. Steven, he'll probably end the year at an 80, and I'll definitely want him back. I think he's also superstar, just star dev, which is still pretty good for this team. Dan, gonna want him back. I already know he's young. JJ, he's one of those guys that's kind of in the middle for me. I thought about resigning him. I thought about not. He's already 27, so if I do resign him, cap, it's going to be 3 or 4 years. I don't really want anybody over 30 on this team as it sits, because, I mean, unless they're linemen, which, I couldn't be picky about because I was just taking who I could get. But, yeah, the whole team is going to be a base minimum 70 overall, or base max of 70 next season. So that way it's just a little bit of progression. See who on this team makes the cut and who just doesn't. I mean, a lot of the linemen will probably go. They're only going to be 60, 65, and a lot of them are up there in age. So a lot of those linemen won't be coming back next season. But we'll see about that. Kayvon, will I want him? I'll probably not try to sign. He's on the fence, 25. He might be coming back as a reserve. Marcus probably won't be coming back next season. I think is he a little bit older? Yeah, he's a little bit older. A little bit more of a backup player as it is. Obi, probably having Obi back. Maybe Obi's he's fast. He's 25. Room for improvement. Jimmy, probably want Jimmy back. And a lot of these will just be based off who makes it to free agency. Now, obviously, a lot of players that are 70 and under will be making it to free agency. Jacob, I seriously have thought about replacing him. I still have my quarterback in the wings. Now, he might get resigned just because he's 70. I might just take him and put him under the wing, but I do have Tyree, who was my original starter before he got benched for more of a traditional pocket passing 6-foot quarterback, 6'6". Damn, Tyree's 6'7". God, he's huge. I didn't know he was that big. But if I could find more of a speed guy, Tyree probably won't be getting up there in terms of overall this season. He's just hasn't made the cut really for what I want to do. His deep accuracy's worse. His throws he's got a little bit more power, but in terms of just accuracy, you guys can obviously tell over here he's just not as accurate. The jump from 70 to 80 is huge. 80, you're a little bit more accurate under pressure. Like, well, you're definitely more accurate, but under pressure, you're a lot more accurate. His throw on the run's a little bit better, and his throw under pressure is better. So probably just be sticking it with him this season, just because he's been playing pretty well. Obviously, he had a lot of. I think he had a lot of errant throws last week that kept us from getting where we wanted. But let's look at the roster here just in terms of depth, where we're going. So overall roster, nobody's over 70 obviously. But we're going to be wanting Greg and him back. You can see we got a lot of cornerbacks that have already reached that cap just because 60 was hard to come by, so they were already at like 68, 67 up there. And a lot of these dudes have speed. Like Greg, he's already a superstar, so I'm definitely not Greg. Yeah, well, Greg. He's already a superstar, and Grant's already up there. He's probably... Is he a star? No, he's normal. Cornerbacks. Let's go depth by depth here. So Tyree, yes, he is on that small contract. I probably will try and re-sign him to a 7-year. But I do want to see which quarterbacks make it to free agency next year. I will be offering a lot of contracts. Now, I'm not going to show you guys all of the free agent targets, but I will show you like who I think are the biggest ones. I'll show you guys, a breakdown of like who got signed and all of the good stuff. Running back is definitely going to be an emphasis. 70 will be the cap for every player that I'm able to re-sign. So this team will definitely be getting better, and running back is a huge market. Huge market, tons of depth. The probably cornerback, receiver, and running back have the most depth because it's like, well, a lot of good running backs in the league, but it's like only 2 or 3 guys can really make an impact on a roster, and then a couple guys just hang around and get cut or practice squad. Sims and Hall will both be on the re-sign docket for me, especially Hall, just as young as Sims, a little bit faster. Probably, might be looking to move him up in the depth chart, see if he can make more of an impact. Sims obviously had a couple of touchdown catches, but with Hall in that slot, we could have done a little bit more there. Voller, Gray, and Saxon, they're probably all gonna go. Voller might make the end of the roster just as a 3rd or 4th string guy. Yeah, definitely want to improve the depth here. Now linemen are going to get a complete overhaul because I wasn't allowing this to go over 60 since there were a good amount of people available under 60 or under 60 around that area. So yeah, complete overhaul here. Even though based on this 60 overall team I have been able to get wins, I do want to add a little bit more scoring punch to these games. Add a little bit more variety to our offensive side. But yeah, definitely overhaul probably to every aspect of the line here. Not only are they like 60s, they're also like 25. Obviously this dude's 23. He probably will make the practice squad possibly. But yeah, 28. A lot of older guys here, a lot of veterans. Right guard obviously a little bit younger here. And then yeah, right tackle. Left end and right end are both going to get a huge overhaul. Obviously Channing Ward has made a difference on this defense. I will show you guys the stat breakdown here in a second. But yeah, he has made an impact, but I'm going to want to sub him out for more of a linebacker look anyway. Get a little bit more depth here on the left and right end. Definitely going for depth here at D-tackle. D-tackle's another one of those high depth situations. I'm going to want to add a lot of power rushers just to run stop. Obviously, I think I'm good. Overall, I'm good with the linebacking situation. I mean, if you see here, we got a bunch of speed guys, tons of just depth and overall like potential greatness on this defensive front in terms of the linebackers across the board. Obviously Hines, we moved him from right to middle, but He might still make the cut. 24, 90 Excel, and then our star Noah Dawkins at damn near 90 for both. Insane. And then Mark, who's been getting better as the season progressed. Yeah, he was one of those guys I was on the fence about whether he'd be a starter just because his overall was low, but build up Noah here, re-sign him to a long-term deal, and make him a stud pass rusher, and then Mark, he'll be next on that docket for who I want to make improvements to. Overall, I don't think there's a whole lot of movement that can be made in terms of our cornerback depth chart, so you might see a lot of these guys come back. Grant, Greg, and Jimmy mostly. OB is another good one, and Kayvon. I mean, overall, pretty good depth for the set. They're all at 70, so I mean, if I see guys that are 20, 21, 22, and have greater speed than obviously these guys down here, Greg is gonna be the stud that I want, having that superstar depth trait. Obviously, I mean, Simone here is just a throwaway. Simeon. Dan, he's going to be a player that I'm going to be pressed to bring back at 22 and with his speed. Kicker, I have been looking into the kickers that I will show you here next in terms of the draft. I still have to get rid of that first pick, which I might actually do here. The Redskins do not have a second overall pick. And the way we've been playing this season, we are definitely playing for that first or that last overall pick in terms of the first round. I guess I won't be able to trade that because it's past week 8, which is when I think is when the trade deadline is closed. So you will see last week, based off our amazing performance, Greg 4 sacks, interception, fumble recovery, and the touchdown on that play. And then JJ, who went off on those 7 plays, 326 receiving yards, damn near 50 average, and 3 touchdowns, which is just fucking ridiculous. I'm surprised our quarterback didn't win that because, I mean, he went off even further, but I think those picks may have hurt him there. Obviously, haven't been winning player of the week offensively a whole lot just because our offense is a little bit more slow-paced. Noah wins it there, 4 sacks. Dan wins it a few times. I've seen him on this list. He wins it week 6, week 4, I think week 1 maybe? No. Joe Burrow winning that. That's insane for his literal week 1 performance as a rookie. But Antonio, who's another rookie. But yeah, Dan's been showing out this year. I really like what I've been seeing from him. Noah, who I said at the beginning of the series would be a staple of our defense off that pass rush with that 90 speed, 90 excel. And then Greg, who's just been getting those depth trade upgrades at a ridiculous pace. He had like 2 back-to-back in a row. Now, if you'll see here, you'll see who wants insane contracts. Obviously, I'm not worried about re-signing this guy. Greg is a guy I'm going to want to bring back. 40 mils, just not going to work for me. Obviously, I'll be signing a bunch of minimum contracts. He might be one of those guys I go after a little bit harder just because I want to build his storyline out a little bit. He's been a breakout fucking star for this team. He's still got good speed. Jacob, I'll be probably looking to re-sign. Maybe he just has a backup since he doesn't have the speed that I'm looking for. Tease, who's on the practice squad, probably won't be signing a whole lot of these practice squad guys back. Just a lot of week 11, just because our whole team is free agent. Now let's look more towards the draft, which is the next part of what I want to get into in this probably half-hour breakdown video. Now, I haven't really been scouting the quarterbacks. I think there'll be plenty of quarterback talent in the free agency that I can get. Not really trying to take a chance there. Obviously, going to be trading away this first round pick for probably a 2nd and a 7th. Just a throwaway pick. I might draft a kicker there because our kicker's been underperforming, and I have been scouting the kickers of this draft. Not really going for running back either. That's another free agency area. Fullback, I don't fuck with them ever. Just because I like to run a tight end look there. Receivers, I have. I guess I haven't scouted any of these guys either, since we have such depth there. Tight ends, this is a big area for me. I have definitely been looking into the tight ends. I want to see if I can get maybe have this guy who hopefully, if he falls, maybe draft him if he's worthy of that pick. Just scout all the vertical threats here, not really looking for blocking or possession, which is what these top two guys are, possession. And then, yes, linemen are another big area I've been looking to improve. This dude's a second round talent. Got 3 second round talents here, so I might be spending a lot of picks there. Now this dude is first round talent. Hopefully, I mean, if he falls, he falls. And then just not a whole lot. This guy is first round and he's power, which is what I want. This guy's also power. He's a 5th round, so if I could get him in the 3rd or 4th round, that'd be a fucking steal. Don't really want him to fall any lower than that. This dude's a power if he falls. Linemen are not usually keen to falling in the draft. They usually are big pickups. Obviously, I haven't been scouting any of the left ends or linebackers. I think our linebacking core is set. Have been scouting the talent at cornerback. Not really pleased with what I've seen. Don't really know the speeds on these guys yet, but in terms of just draft capital and where Madden places them, they're not in love. And obviously, I went randomized draft. I don't want, any funny business with a bunch of set draft classes where it's like, oh, Joe Burrow's a 95 overall in this draft class. Just insane shit like that where there's like 50 X Factor players because, somebody thinks Chase Young, who I think is going to be pretty good, but, obviously he's not there yet. Somebody who thinks Chase Young is a rookie 99 overall. I don't want any of that. Free safety is another position I've been looking at. I want to move Greg Stroman back to the cornerback position in order to do that. This guy it looks like a steal. He's a hybrid, which is what I've been scouting, which is what I want, which means they got speed, they got coverage. He's the 2nd round talent, which is the highest we can draft. I haven't really looked over here. I did look over here. There was a bunch of zone, bunch of run support. Not really hybrid, a bunch of undraftables. Kickers. If I do take a kicker, I think Braden Matthews was the guy I was looking at just because he's got the best balance between, power. He doesn't have the A+, but accuracy has been another problem. Our kicker, I mean, it's a toss-up between Rich and Braden. I mean, the power is really what we need. The accuracy, I think it comes second, but when you're looking at a guy like this who's got A power and damn near A- kick accuracy, I think I might just need to take him just because of that balance. Haven't been looking at punters here. Obviously, we don't punt the ball a lot. It's either touchdown, field goal attempt, or turnover. And if we do punt the ball, I'm not really worried about ball placement. I think they've all got pretty relative. But that's where we're looking at in terms of draft. Probably drafted kicker late. Might draft 2 kickers just to see which one's the better kicker. And then stick with that guy for the remaining life cycle of this series. Going over to stats here, obviously we lead the NFC, which is a pretty trash division. Somehow the Cowboys, I mean, this year it's looking fucking stacked for some reason. The Cowboys, Eagles, and Giants all relatively in the same ballpark in terms of wins. Stats, I haven't really checked up on this. 29th, 23rd. He's got a pretty good passer rating. Obviously, that's not first in touchdowns. We could break down all this for the next 10 minutes. First in receiving yards and touchdowns. So let's go look. Take a little bit of a more in-depth look in terms of how he stacks up against the rest of the league. Aaron Rodgers leading here with 2,600. We'll just break down the main stats, and then we'll look at a little bit of a closer Jacob Eason, who's one of the lower quarterbacks on this list, obviously. Somehow Dak Prescott's down here, even though he's got a perfect touchdown to pass ratio. That's ridiculous. And Jacob Eason here with pretty much a Jameis scenario. I mean, we threw 5 touchdowns last game, and I think we threw like 3 picks. So kind of like a 50-50. I mean, we got a little bit ahead that game, but still, obviously, even for the... which we do want to clean up, which is why I've been looking more towards a running quarterback, get out of the pocket. But 1,500, you know, that's not bad in terms of how our offense operates. 12 passing touchdowns, that's probably about average for this league. Yeah, towards the bottom half. Somehow Drew Brees is down here. That makes no sense. Kirk Cousins, who played fairly clean against us. And then Jared Goff down here with the Darnolds, and somehow Kyler Murray's down here with Dak Prescott, who's playing really good, but also, you know, not having the production in terms of yards somehow. I mean, obviously we'd be a lot lower if it wasn't for last game where we threw 400. Let's just say we threw an average of like 200. I mean, we would have been the absolute bottom of this list. Andrew Luck somehow on this list, even though he's got like 12 overall, 25 overall. Still played pretty good somehow. And then let's go look at obviously, I think we're probably first. It's a pretty close race, actually. It's closer than I thought it would be. I knew I was going to throw a good amount of picks this year. I'd take a lot of chances. Some chances, some just bad on my part. And then Josh Allen, who threw like 4 last game, which definitely bumped him up and hurt his chances in terms of like MVP and stuff like that. 71, that's pretty high. Let's see, 76 is the top of the league, and then 71. You know, I'm happy with 71. That's pretty good. Obviously, our yards a game are not going to be that high. Lamar Jackson probably going to be MVP this year. This is ridiculous. 18-2, 1,900, and you already know this man's got running yards probably out the wazoo with a 130 passer rating. Obviously not based off a 100 scale system like Pro Football Focus uses, but I think it's based on a 150 scale. 157 I think is the cap. Nick Foles, who played a clean game, 2 for 2 and a touchdown, along with Tyrod and Greer somehow. That's weird. They all have close to that perfect passer rating, but in terms of starters, Lamar Jackson at that 129 benchmark. And obviously gets mixed in with a bunch of backups. But in terms of 96, right up there with Brady, Murray, Rivers. That's decent company. Yards per attempt, I bet ours is going to be in the trash can. Let's see where we stack up here before we move on to the running side of this. Where are we on this list? I didn't even see her name. I must have skipped right over it. I guess we're towards the top. I mean, we're the #1 starting quarterback. I was not expecting that. In terms of yards per attempt, I bet that got really overblown. Our last game where we had 400 yards on like 20 attempts. Or like 15, something ridiculous like that. Sacks, yeah, about half. And obviously downs and shit like that don't matter. In terms of carries, let's see who's Damian Williams being a workhorse this year. Then Chris and David. Miles. So yeah, we're not going to be near the top in terms of that. Just because of 5-minute quarters, and we don't run we run a lot. Like we run like a mixed, I guess most games. I mean sometimes we go run heavy, just if we're trying to chew clock. Let's see how we stack up here in terms of yards. Henderson towards the bottom middle of the pack probably, but obviously first in touchdowns, tied here with Derrick Henry, who's got like twice as many yards. And then let's see fumbles. Yeah, we lead that along with like several other people, like a third of the lead. In there with names like Cook, Singletary, who was tearing us up a little bit last game. Joe, Christian, and Saquon. That's the company I gotta be in. I guess that's pretty good. 91 for Saquon. I couldn't even tell you what our longest run this season's been. 22 yards. I didn't even check that out for passing. Oh, Jacob Eason at 87. I'm happy with that. Probably last game. Receiving is a lot where we'll get a lot of the flack. Obviously going off for like 350 yards last game helped his stats a shit ton. Julian Edelman up here too. Just a staple. Marquise obviously. We're in a pretty clear advantage for number one in terms of yards, but that'll probably fall off towards the back half of the season unless we go stupid again. Average a game, obviously 95. He's our leading receiver. Where is... I feel like Steven Sims would be our second best receiver. Probably way down here. Yeah, Steven Sims. Not too bad. 30 and 400 and a touch. Obviously getting his first touchdown last week. JJ in a quad race here with Allen Higgins and Fuller for 7 touchdowns. All deep threat type players. What's Rashad's rating? Ugh. Okay, well, his is just damn ugly. I don't even know how the fuck he is in competition with these boys over here, except for JJ, obviously, who's our team leader. Having 3 last game really helped boost that. Run after catch. Let's see who has had the longest yard. Manuel Hall, who had that slant route for 87 yards a long time ago. 4 catches and a touchdown, and he has like the 3rd best touchdown. We should definitely incorporate him more. Nobody really cares about linemen. Let's see who's given up the most sacks. Jake Jedrick, who's a rookie, and then DJ. I'm surprised one of our guys isn't higher on this list. In defense, this is really where I want to look at. In terms of sacks, Noah with 17.5. Greg with 12.5. Having a huge monster game. He had like 5 last game. And then Dan, who's been solid all season with 12. Now I wonder. I guess that's accurate. Sometimes it'll take people off this list for no reason. But yeah, Noah, Greg, and Dan, 2 safeties in our obviously our stud pass rusher there. All top 3. And let's see if it takes any of these bottom guys off. Alden Smith, who's been pretty good pass rushing. What's his rating in this game? 77, that's fair. That's fair. And he's doing pretty good in real life too. Obviously the Cowboys aren't playing that good. Matthew Thomas coming in lower with 5.5, which is still really good season. Let's see who's leading in picks. Greg is actually leading in picks. Dan, not too far behind. I don't even feel like we caused that many turnovers, but I guess we do. And then we got Taj Gibson Sr. up here with Greg. Yeah, I didn't feel like we were causing that many turnovers, but guess we've been more disruptive than I realized. Interception yards long. 37 cannot be the case. 37 might be the case. Actually, what happened to well, I guess that was fumble recovery. Yeah, that was fumble recovery. Wow, nobody going real long this year. Yeah, and Greg had that 74. Damn near 3/4 of the field. Let's see if we have any block kicks this year. Oh yeah, good amount. 5. 5 on the season, that's pretty good. Let's see. Texans getting 2 of them. And we've caused safeties. I know that for a fact. Greg has 1. Let's see if this changes any of the stats. Yeah, see, sometimes it does. I guess Greg's got our only safety. I could have swore we had a few safeties in one game not too long ago, but... And then in terms of touchdowns, you know, half a dozen people here have had a touchdown. Greg cannot be the only one. I feel like stats are getting left off. Yeah, look, Kayvon also had a touchdown. He's had a pick 6 last game. Somehow, yeah, it was only 18 yards. Yeah, see, some things will get left off. Obviously, we can check out our kicking here, but we're towards the bottom of this list. Yeah, only hitting half of his. But I mean, I guess when we longest field goals, 32 yards, that's sadness. What's the longest this year? No, not punting. Nobody cares about punting. Greg Zerline with 58, and our kicker can't even hit a 50. Alright, let's check out, moved up 22nd. Let's see where we rank in these yearly stats. Nobody on our team making the MVP list just yet. Don't know if we'll be able to eke that. Dubs, obviously, leading 8-1. Freddie, somehow the coach still, you know, I think it's Kevin Stefanski in real life. And then Mike Vrabel, all vying for Coach of the Year. I couldn't even tell you. I think we're in FC. Vikings getting 2 people on this list. Greg, Noah, Dan, all being part of this list. Obviously, we got some monsters on the defense. Jacob in the running for rookie, along with, you know, some of the other people who we definitely know. Terry, who I would have loved on this team, but had to cut him. And then Steven, who hasn't even been playing that well, but I guess... Whoa. Did it just say Rob Gronkowski's a fucking rookie? This man is like 35 years old. But whatever, he's not even going to win it. And then obviously defensive rookie, Noah and Dan again, who have been staples of our defense in terms of just pass rush and turnovers. Big playability. Obviously our quarterback's not having the greatest season with that 12-12. Dan getting in here just solely based off the clout of his touchdowns. JJ, who just went off and is leading like all receivers and everything. O-line, obviously, we got one of the shittiest ones in the league. Definitely the shittiest. And then Noah pops up again here. Vikings having a couple players. Leonard Floyd making this list, and somehow maybe he's under defensive line. Oh, no, Aaron Donald also made the list. And then defensive backs who have been really popping off. Gray, we got Dan here, who's obviously safety. Figured we would have had a couple more guys make that list. Then there's no way our kicker's in the top 10. Our kicker sucks. 32nd in terms of offensive yards, first in terms of defense. I think our defense has been killing it. 23rd in terms of points scored, probably first in terms of points allowed. Definitely. in the gap there. Our defense has just been playing pretty good. But yeah, that'll conclude this mid-season, little past half season, our bye week wrap up in terms of stats, where we're going defensively, offensively, where we're looking in terms of free agency and the draft. And yeah, that'll do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you stick around for the rest of this series. Probably wrap this up by the end of the year. Dropping 3 videos a week. Hope you guys watch them all. I want you guys to fall in love with this series, fall in love with my channel, fall in love with the content that I make. Any improvements at all that you guys would love to see me make. Obviously, I want to open up the playbook more here if we get the opportunity to add guys who allow that to be a possibility. Big playability. I mean, you guys seen against the Bills. If I can find that shot, that play that'll put us over the top, I will take that shit every time. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys back again. Love the support that I've been seeing. A lot of Among Us. Watch my Among Us shit. I love having good 2-hour streams with my girlfriend, just fucking playing Among Us. It's fucking super fun. Just getting to play with shit with her that we love to play together. Yeah, anything you guys want to add in the comments, DM me. Play games together. I'm willing, open and willing to help try and create a community, sense of community here on my channel, and just really get that love flowing.